having a minute's silence for Her Majesty the Queen. Thank you. Please be seated. We start this evening with to receive and accept apologies for absence. That's over to you, Michelle.
Okay, yeah, got Tina Cruz, Keith Gilbert, Tina Cadell, Beryl Bunning, James Wooler, Charlotte Greeno, Keith Prince and Toby Madison.
Is everybody happy with those apologies, or would you like to go through them eventually?
Sorry, no, she has given her apologies.
Do we accept the apologies from those councillors?
Yeah.
Or to note, declaration of members' personal, prejudicial and disclosable pecuniary interests in respect of the items on the agenda. Anyone anything to declare? No. Item 3. 3.1 to confirm that the minutes of the meeting held on the 23rd of August 2022 are a true and accurate record. Has everybody had a chance to see them? Everybody happy with them? Thank you. Thanks, Michelle. 3.2 to receive report on items from the last minutes not already on the agenda. Is there anything to report, Michelle?
No, just what I've sent out in the packs. Nothing verbal to update on.
Thank you. Item 4. 4.1 Chairman's Report. On the 31st of August, I attended 864 Watton RAF Cadets AGM. The evening was informative, and I look forward to the Council working with this squadron to achieve some of their ambitions for the young people of Watton. On the 4th of September, Stan and I attended the Wayland Show. I want to thank Sue Dent and Anne for organising the displays and the commitment to setting up and taking down. I'd also like to thank other councillors that helped man the stall that day. Sadly, since the demise of our sovereign Queen Elizabeth II, I have spent time in the office with Michelle implementing Operation London Bridge. On Sunday morning, the 11th of September, I attended the church service at St Mary's, Watton. At 3 p.m, I took part with the town crier Mike Wabe in our proclamation ceremony, attended by Deputy Lord Lieutenant Mary Rudd and several of our councillors, which I would like to thank for attending. On the 12th of September, I attended the AGM of the Norfolk Scouting Group, which was chaired by their president, Lady Dannet, MBE, Her Majesty's His Majesty's, I guess now, Lord Lieutenant. At this point, I would like minuted that I wish to thank Michelle, little Jane and Anne for all their hard work and many extra hours they have put in over the last few days and the coming days. They have worked through the Operation London Bridge order thoroughly and without the need to ask for their additional time. It has made my position as chair of the Watton Town Council easier, knowing that they have all worked so well in ensuring that we have performed the tasks required on such a sad occasion with pride and dignity. My thanks also go to Mike Wabe, our town crier, and Linda from St Mary's Church for their participation. In other business, I hope that you've all received an email regarding the possibility of a specialist resource space at Watton Junior School. If you can visit the school on the 22nd of September, this could aid us in discussing the item at our next meeting to put forward the council's views. Thank you. Oh, lots of hands. Yes, Catherine, yours was first.
You made a suggestion that we formally acknowledge the role that the office staff have played in making the procedures over the last week so much easier for yourself and for the council. And I'd like to propose that we formally adopt that so that it is entered into the minutes and that we vote on that.
All those in favour? Stan, your hand came up.
Madam Chair, you mentioned in your report the Watton show, many councillors know, there's been a long-standing town council the Watton show, and this is a personal my whole view that as one town council, we should be supporting this show. We should be proactively supporting it, whether it's financial, monetary, council, whatever. We should be doing more. We should be either reaching out on a branch or certainly having discussions with the citizens and what it is that town council support.
Seconder. I can just say, I hope that somebody used that ticket. So can we put this on the agenda?
Madam Chair, that's a proposal that it be put on the agenda for a future discussion, not for a decision necessarily, but for discussion, so that we can establish where we are and a potential way forward. Thank you for seconding that, Don.
Pat mentioned about a ticket for the chair. I hope somebody made use of that because we actually paid to go in. paid for both of us. There was no. If we can put it on the next agenda, and if people can think of anything, any points that they wish to raise regarding that, then we'll discuss it then. Thank you. And the proclamation.
Website.
On our website.
It was on ITV News. You were on the news.
Yes.
No, just, we're not on the bench.
So item 4.2, Vice Chairman's report.
Chair, yes, on the 25th of August, I attended the HR committee. On the 4th of September, I also attended the Wayland show. And on the 5th of September, I attended the Watton Charlotte Harvey Management Committee about the food hub, because we have got the money now, and we'll come to that later on. And then I also, distancing myself correctly since I had COVID, I did attend the proclamation. Thank you.
Deputy Clerk's report, Michelle. Anything?
I think the only thing I've got to verbally add on to what's already in the pack is we've had a request for a bench to be removed from the cemetery. That the family that put it there 20 years ago are no longer living locally. I just wanted to check with everyone that they can remove it.
Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
family wants to take it away.
Yeah, they've just asked permission from us if they can remove their own bench.
Did they provide the bench?
Yeah.
Not in that case, yes.
Yes.
I guess they're figuring they don't want to just come in if we find that a bench is missing.
Did they mention anything about the replacement?
No, unfortunately not. But if everyone's okay with that, then I just thought I'd make everyone aware.
Thank you. Item 4.4, emergency. Oh, sorry, Catherine.
Sam Chapman is coming to the next committee meeting. We should be aware that it's a Charlotte Harvey Trust meeting on that same night at 6:30. Yeah, it was agreed at the last one.
It's going to be a bit of a squeeze because I think there's an emergency plan meeting as well. So there's going to be one at 6, one at 6:30, and then Sam Chapman Allen is on the agenda after the clerk's report within the meeting. Quite a busy one.
Chair, through you, after we'd had our HR meeting, or towards the end of it, in September, a gentleman arrived from Breckland. Said he was having a meeting with the district councillors. The clerk didn't know anything about it, we didn't know anything about it. And then one of the district councillors arrived and said the others weren't coming. But it was to discuss the electric vehicle recharging point. Do we know through the clerk, or the deputy clerk, what happened about that? Do we know what's going on?
No, I don't know any further. We are awaiting a report from the Brackley councillor. I think they were more discussing sort of sites of where they could potentially go, but I've had nothing yet.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Catherine.
Just very quickly going on from that, it might be worth reminding councillors, both town councillors and district councillors, that if rooms are needed to be booked, there are procedures, and certainly the office staff need to be made aware that people require rooms, because we do have an arrangement with the museum as well for the chamber, and it's not helpful to the office staff if people turn up for meetings and they haven't been made aware of them.
Can we send out an email, Michelle, to remind all councillors and district councillors? Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. 4.4 emergency plan update. Jane.
Yeah, it's just a quick one, really. This is beginning to be a bit of a struggle, trying to get the public involved. Without the public, the whole thing will not work, and that's quite important. We had a presence, I think Liz was at the Wayland show. We're planning on being at the carnival and at the festive market, but I'm not so sure that's going to be enough to get it out there. It would be helpful if we could have some small amount of money, say a couple of £100, allocated by finance, so we could put a proper display on, say at the Queen's Hall or somewhere like that, just to push it. I think if we give ourselves to Christmas, if we haven't got enough members of the public involved, we're going to have to just accept that it can't run. It's got to be a cascade system, and we have to have them. So the only thing we could do at that stage is to draft a leaflet, which we would then issue to all households and put them with the estate agents and the like, so they could give them to tenants. But if that could go to finance, it would be helpful if they could find the money and deal with it.
Yes, Catherine.
Just to reassure Jane that it's going to be on the Finance Committee agenda for this week, Jane.
Super. Thank you very much. That's it.
From that, have you contacted Breckland or Norfolk Police at all? Because I am under the impression that there is already an emergency plan action for Watton that they hold and cascade down.
They all say they have one, but we can't find anyone specific who has it. That's the problem.
I will ask my contact if they can.
They can give us the name, because we've asked various people, and we've also gone on to the Norfolk Resilience Forum, but they emailed us, but then when we go back to them, we hear nothing. So there's supposed to be something in place. I do know that there used to be an emergency planning system in place, but whether it's fallen by the wayside, I don't actually know. Okay.
See if they can help. Public participation. There are no members of the public, so we move on to Sorry, Don.
Before we move on to that, I wasn't quite sure where to mention this, but at the last meeting we talked about the country park, or the possibility of the country park, and I would contact Philip Morton, who's a councillor for Dereham Town Council. I have contacted him, and he's willing to come along and talk to the council. He suggested that he comes to the next meeting, but that doesn't sound the best. He can't do the first Tuesday of the month or the second Tuesday of the month, because that's when Dereham have theirs, but he can do the 4th.
Could we perhaps ask him to come on the October one?
I'm not going to be here, but I mean, if everybody else, I mean, I can explain that to Philip that I won't be here, but otherwise it's leaving until November. Is that sort of too late, or do you want to press ahead with it?
We haven't signed anything yet, have we? We're still in limbo.
It's not out yet.
No.
So maybe put it back to
say
November if you're going to be here as well.
The 4th, yeah,
So
Tuesday in November.
we could invite him to the November one.
Yeah.
Put that on the agenda.
All right. Yep.
Second, I haven't got.
Yep. Okay. Philip. Okay.
Item 6, to receive the minutes from the HR committee meeting held on the 25th of August 2022.
Chair, they're in your pack. They're just there for your information at the moment because we haven't agreed them yet until the next meeting.
Thank you. Item 7, to resolve that the Town Council gives permission to the Charlotte Harvey Trust Management Committee to draw up a job description, job specification and commence advertising for the post of Watton Food Hub Supervisor.
Chair, I also have that put on. In case you didn't know, that we have now the grant. So we can proceed. We've got quotes in for doing various bits of work, and we've agreed that they can start. First thing is to board up the boiler. The carpet people on the high street are going to remove the carpet and put vinyl flooring down for us. In what is the meeting room at the moment? Yes, because that's where the food shop is going to be. Then the person who is closing, putting a cabinet up for the boiler, he is also then going to put doors up. So if you went straight through the front doors, don't turn left down the corridor, but go straight on, you've then got that area on your left. That will be, there'll be sliding doors to come across that to close it off for a meeting room. Also, in the quote, which we've accepted, the big trolley with all the mats on is going to be put at the back of the hall, and there's going to be a false wall put up so it can go behind that. Okay. Now, the next thing we need to do is obviously appoint someone because we've got the money for it. And you will remember the council agreed to pay the on costs, etc. So really what this is saying is that the management committee ought to go ahead and draw up a job description and get on with advertising it. Although it is going to be a council employee, I understand that, but there isn't a big issue because it's not something we haven't done before. But really, speed of the essence now, because with cost of energy going up and people's incomes going down, there's more and more families that need help. So the sooner we can get the shop open and running, the better. So this is asking your permission to let that proceed, and that the Pepso and the clerk would work together to do that, and to get the job advertised so we can try and get someone in. Because the sooner we can get someone in, they can run everything else from there on. It's not up to poor old Sue Dent to do all the jobs. It'll be up for them to organise where we're getting the food from, etc., and the shelving, etc.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for that, Pat. And through you, Sue Dent has been in touch with the lady from Breckland who said she'd help us out, and she's got a number of names of people who she thinks would be looking for jobs like that. I think they're part of the Ukrainian community, but we don't care. As long as somebody has got the right kind of ethos to doing it, that's what we're looking for. So it's really asking your permission to go ahead.
Yes, Catherine.
As Pete said, I think speed of is of the essence here, because this is a particularly good thing for Watton, having the opportunity to have this food bank. Another good opportunity you've alluded to already, the school, the special needs department. So there's positive things happening for Watton. We aren't a council with a huge amount of financial resource, but what we can do is encourage and promote and push things forward as much as we can, where we can. And I think Jane, or I'm not sure it was Jane or Michelle, has spoken verbally to HRMC about the use of a service level agreement, and that they seem to be quite happy with that. It is quite a common thing to have within the public sector, the use of a service level agreement. And because I do think we need to really push forward on this now, particularly if we want to get somebody in post before Christmas, I've actually worded a resolution to take forward what's on the agenda. So if you bear with me, Sue, I'll read what I've put here. This council fully accepts the resolution as printed on the agenda. This council further instructs that on their return from vacation, the clerk and PEPSO will proceed immediately with the recruitment for the post of Watton Food Hub Supervisor.
All those in favour?
Thank you.
Sorry, Chair, just add one thing, in case everybody's worried, well, I'm sure you're not, but in case you were worried about VAT, we've been in touch with the Thetford Hub, etc., and unless you're going to take in over £85,000, you don't have to register for VAT.
Item 8. Sorry.
Can we give resident is the office and but what this council reads tonight is we don't need to be very soon next week for me and it's not doing it when it's done, but given the clear language of the office, the council's office is
Bank holiday Monday.
Tuesday,
Tuesday.
yes.
but sorry to make it on the public.
Item 8, to consider commissioning a project manager for the clock tower works. Have you got anything to say on this, Michelle? As to any suggestions being put forward?
I know it was agreed a while back that we were going to go with the MPS who undertook the survey. So it's just a question to you as to whether you want to continue with MPS, because Alan Wright has now left MPS and is now to start with a new company. And MPS no longer offer that service anymore, so he's moved from one company to a new one, and is still willing to undertake the works. It's just more, are you still happy to go with him but in a different business?
Yes.
No extra costs are involved. I have checked, the costs should be all the same, but it's just to confirm really.
So sorry, are you saying you want to go with NPS? No. So the letter says they Kings and Dunn Architects.
Yeah.
All those in favour? Item 9, to consider proceeding with expression of interest regarding grant funding for changing places toilet. Some help with making the toilets look better or rebuilding. There's grants available. I don't know that we need to. Yes, Catherine.
I only had a very quick scan through this, but is it to do with improving the facility for disabled access?
How I understand it is Breckland are either receiving a grant or going to apply on behalf of town and parishes, and it's to refurb like a disabled toilet that we've already got into a more of a vulnerable adult, an adult changing facility. It just kind of boosts what you've already got, but to make it more versatile for vulnerable adults.
Yes, Catherine.
Can I suggest that as proceeding with an expression of interest, I don't think actually commits us to anything in the future. Can I suggest that we do that at this stage? And then as we get more information, we'll know better whether it's something that we really do want to pursue.
John?
Yesterday I spoke to Councillor Graham Edwards from Swaffham Town Council, and they had really big plans about refurbishing all their toilets and everything else. In the end, they've ended up with 2, I believe, toilets that are multi-purpose, that are for disabled, and the change in things for vulnerable adults and everything. So as far as I can understand, some of the funding from that's come through Brecklands as well, so that might be what we're talking about here.
So if we can say that we're agreeing to progress with the expression of interest, so we're not committing, but we'd like to know a lot more.
Yeah.
All those in favour? Thank you. Item 10, planning, to consult on planning applications received since the last meeting. Over to you, Jane.
Thank you. We've got one on the agenda and a couple more that have come in since. 10.1, 3PL 2022-0379F, proposed workshop building, Drone Garage, Norwich Road, is an amendment with additional information, amending site plans and the noise impact assessment. On that one, the original one that came in, we made no comment on the original application. And from what I've seen, it looks like Environmental Health made some comments about the positioning of the building, which has been changed slightly, and a noise impact assessment submitted. So I haven't got anything I want to comment on. Has anybody else got anything they want to say? No. We have some information regarding, you might remember, the 4 St Mary's Close construction of a garage in the rear garden for the storage of the private car collection, which members of the public came in about. The application has been refused,
Good.
which is nice to know. Let's hope they take enforcement action. And then there was 3PL 2022-0687, variation of condition 2 to enable the construction of a single garage, 20 Fairhead Way. That's just removal of permitted development rights, which is quite common now, and that's been approved. There is another one coming up on the agenda next time. I don't think we should discuss it tonight, because I think everyone will need to read it. It's application to modify discharge of planning obligation, 30B 2022-0520B, discharge planning obligation, land off Town Green Road, and involves a 106. So if that comes up, that should come up on the next committee. If you could read it, so if there's anything you want to raise, let me know in advance. Just discharge the, so, but when they say discharge, that means they're submitting stuff in accordance with what they're supposed to do. But without seeing it, I don't know if it is. So I haven't looked, I just got that this evening, so I don't know what it is. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. That's it on the agenda. So,
Thank you.
end of the meeting. 7:30. Told you. Home by 8.
Record.
Gin and tonic by 5 past.